One of the members of Congress on that trip to Turks and Caicos, Republican representative for Pennsylvania, Guy Reschenthaler. He joins me. Good evening, sir. And before I even ask you a question, I do say I much appreciate when members of Congress go after Americans to try to bring them home. So, having traveled so much around the world, and when I see, and don't get me started on Aruba, I do appreciate you going. So tell me, what can you do to try to get these 5 Americans home?
Well, thank you, Greta. Thanks for having me on, and thank you for covering this, because one of the ways we're going to be able to get these Americans home is through media attention and pressuring the Biden administration through public opinion to act. And what we can do is simple. The Biden administration can have the State Department issue a do not travel order on Turks and Caicos. Right now, they're currently at a level 2, which is meaning just use caution. If we take them to a level 4, which is the do not travel, it means that cruise ships, for example, cannot leave the U.S. and go to Turks and Caicos. It would cripple the economy of Turks and Caicos. And for anybody flying in on vacation, if you have a do not travel on Turks and Caicos, you can't get any vacation insurance or traveler's insurance. It would, again, hurt their economy. And Greta, their economy is almost completely dependent on U.S. tourism. Tourism is well over 60–70% of their economy, and out of those tourists, roughly 86% are American. Americans own roughly 75% of the property of the homes in Turks and Caicos. They use the U.S. dollar. They're that dependent on the United States, and we represent well over 90% of imports into that small island nation. So all we need to do is exercise some of our power and some of our levers. The Biden administration, however, and the State Department has been weak, they've been feckless, they've been incompetent, and unwilling to use American power to bring these Americans home.
Well, a dirty little secret, and I'll expand a little bit, are a lot of these islands, it's a dirty little secret what goes on there and how at risk Americans are. But in terms of these 5 Americans, I mean, they weren't arrested for armed robbery. They had, I think, a couple bullets in their bag or something, and they didn't even know that they had it. And they got 12 years mandatory for that. 12 years.
It's draconian. This is something that we'd see from North Korea, Russia, or Iran. And remember, these are strict liability offenses, meaning you don't need mens rea. You don't need an evil mind, so to speak. So these individuals didn't have the intent to bring these bullets into Turks and Caicos. None of them had firearms.
They didn't have the weapons.
So
they didn't have the guns to fire them. They didn't have the guns to fire
them.
Exactly.
Exactly. These were just loose rounds of ammunition that happened to be in a purse, in a duffel bag, in a carry-on. That this is very common for Americans to do. But typically what happens in other countries, if you come in, it's a Border and Customs Act violation. So the American gets fined, they get sent directly back to America. That's what we do. Here, though, the Turks and Caicos government is imposing 12-year minimum sentences for Americans who had no intent of breaking the law. It's truly over the top. And Greta, they're targeting Americans.
Well, I do appreciate, and we'll keep a lot of pressure on this. I appreciate what you're doing, sir. Congressman Guy Reschenthaler, thank you, sir.